Hey, greetings, and shalom to you all. Welcome to this broadcast. As you can see, I'm outdoors, I'm not in studio, I'm not where you normally see me today. But as you join the broadcast, let me know whether you can see and also hear clearly, please. This is an unplanned one, but it is a timely one. It was actually planned, but delayed, I should say. I have so much going on, so many things to do, so many situations to deal with. Um, I am not a one-day emancipation speaker to say that, oh, because the 1st of August we say something about emancipation, it's all over. Not on this side of the ship. We are going to address these matters for as long as we have to address these matters. I'm going to make those who are racist in this country uncomfortable for as long as I have to make them comfortable. You will hear from me because I'm ready for you all. I told you on Sunday, the 31st of July, according to Pope Gregory's calendar, that when you saw me dressed in my African attire, and I told you that this was an announcement to all of you that things are changing with me. You're going to see another side of me. You're going to hear another side of me by Yahweh's grace that some of you would not be able to deal with. Even some of you in the church would not be able to handle them saying to you. So it's a good time to back off and to just step back, push, go away as quickly as you can. Because this is not going to be an easy time for you all with me. So as you join the broadcast, let me know if you can see and can also hear clearly. I bid the saints shalom. I know it's Saturday morning. Some of you are not trying to roll over in your bed. I believe that wisdom doesn't allow you to sleep late. It's just I just function in that manner. Wisdom gets me up early. There are only 24 hours in a day, and that's according to the system by which we function. And if there are 24 hours in a day, then I need to make the most of that 24. Can you hear me clearly? Good. And I also tell people that I will rest when I'm dead. So don't tell me I have to get rest. I rest when I'm dead. According to Gani. You're not catching me to rest all day and stuff like that. I would recover. I'll take a break. But I tell my mommy all the time, she says, you have to rest. I say, I'll rest when I'm dead. You catch me resting then for sure, because I'll be surely asleep. But I want to share with you this morning that which has been on my heart for a while. The thing about Yahweh in dealing with me is that He doesn't rush me to say things, and I want you all to understand that, or that side of me. My daughters, especially the older one, Regina, she knows me pretty well in that regard. The younger ones are so familiar with that, but Regina knows me very well. I'm not quick to say things. I would observe people for years sometimes and don't say much to them and allow them at times to expose themselves. But this conversation I'm going to have with you today, yes, Pastor man. Wisdom does not allow you to sleep late. This conversation can make some of you, even some of you who are called African descendants, you may be very uncomfortable. All right? I drove for maybe about 5 hours yesterday. Got to my destination close to midnight. Had to help my wife with what she had to do, and I'm up already. I maybe got an hour's sleep if so many. But I'm here because this is so important. Oh, let's get into this. And you can share the broadcast if you don't mind. Tag Irfanali and Bart and these people. They need to hear me talk to them today. It's becoming a norm. It's becoming not an uncomfortable norm, but a disgusting norm. That every year, at the 1st of August, marking what they call the emancipation of the Africans. Every year at this time, we have the people will be playing drums, and leaders of this country and the Caribbean and so on would give commentary. And in some cases, they issue statements from their political offices about the African, about the ancestors of those who they classify as slaves. I want to begin by saying to you, and I'll deal with the church in a minute. Do not, and that's why I said Irfan Ali cannot talk to me. If you listen to Irfan Ali's statement or message, his Emancipation Day message, I told you all that Irfan Ali, who's paid to be president of Ghana, cannot speak to me as an African descendant, as a Hebrew descendant. You're not going to do it. There is no time in my life here on in that Irfan Ali, Barrett Jagdeo, or any other individual who has refused not to say things, but to do what I'm about to address this morning. If you refuse to genuinely represent the cause of the African by demonstrating, using your office, that desire to do so, and the will to do so, you're not speaking to me. And even if you have done it, you still disqualify as speaking to me as an African, because you do not share the pain. You do not share the history. Mostly do not share the appreciation for that which the Africans, the Hebrew people, would have gone through. And so Ali, in speaking to those who want to listen to him, talked about what the Africans suffered and how we should not ever have this happen again. And of course he included the reparation talk, that we should be repaid for what happened. And by the way, while you're here, on the 10th, I think it's the 10th, yeah, should be the 10th. Yeah, the 10th of August, the 10th of this month, according to Pope Gregory's calendar, I will be in Buxton on a panel speaking to the centering of the equality or equity of our oil wealth. I'm speaking in a village that was purchased by my descendants, by Africans, my ancestors as a matter of fact, and I've been invited to speak. And I would advise you to tune into that message that I deliver to them and the discussion we're going to have. So Irfan Ali in his Emancipation Day message, Irfan Ali is an Indian man, a descendant of those from India. Irfan Ali is a descendant of those who came here as indentured servants, not slaves. Irfan Ali is a descendant of those who entered an agreement with slave masters, the colonizers, with murderers, terrorists. That's what they are. Facebook will block me all you want, I don't care. Hell with you. They'll hear me what I have to say and then you block me afterwards, I don't care. Irfan Ali is a descendant of those who made an agreement with terrorists. That's what they're not colonizers and all these fancy words you want to use. These people, these Europeans, were terrorists. That's what they were. And his descendants made an agreement with them, signed a contract that they're going to come to the Caribbean and they're going to work for a wage, because the descendants or forefathers, those who were Africans, refused to endure this any longer. Therefore, Irfan Ali, while he was in the loins of his foreparents, did not share my experience. His foreparents were never put in Accra, Ghana, in the dungeon. His foreparents were never put or walked for miles upon miles, days, weeks, so they can shed weight to make the ship lighter. Our descendants were weakened. We, in the loins of our forefathers, were weakened walking towards the door of no return to get to that castle. We were weakened by captors. Weakened, we were made to shed weight. So can you imagine having to go through the 1,000+ mile journey while your forefathers, or while you're a person who's you've been made to shrink to lighten up the cargo on the ship, the vessel. Then when you got into the dungeon, they starved you, put you in a hot room so you can shed some more weight. And there were doors of varying sizes, the smallest being the one called the door of no return. If you got to the first, or you got to the first one and you could not fit, you're too fat, you had to starve again. Irfan Ali never had that experience. How can you therefore tell me? How can you tell me that while I was in the loins of my great parent, suffering, because I want you to understand the principle. Yahweh told the children of Israel, I brought you out of Egypt in the loins of your fathers. Don't miss that. He said, I brought you out of Egypt in the loins of your fathers. Every African descendant, every Hebrew descendant, you are in the loins. You are on the ship. And you are a traitor. You are treasonous if you can shake hands with those who are disrespecting your journey and disrespecting the legacy and disrespecting your experience. So every year on the 1st of August, the leader of Guyana would issue statements and would say things like Irfan Ali did, that the Africans have suffered immensely. Let me tell you, Irfan, don't begin by saying to me that my foreparents suffered. Don't start addressing me like that, because once you do that, you're addressing me as a victim of some sort. I'm giving you all a warm-up to what I'm going to do with publicly in Buxton. Don't address me as though I am in need of your pity or your careful consideration, since I suffered immensely. I did not begin by suffering. I began by ruling. I began by being self-sustaining. I wasn't poor in the loins of my foreparents, trying to survive. I began by conquering nations and territories. I began by building major cities, wonders of the world. And then some of the people who looked just like me began to capture us and sell us to demons. So don't you come and address me, Irfan Ali. And every time I call you, don't you ever begin your Emancipation Day message talking about the slaves. We didn't begin in that manner. Speak to where we came from. And speak to who put us in our position. And then speak to what you and your clan have done about that position we're in. I'm here to share with you this morning, because I have another long day ahead of me. When we, and when I say we, I want, because I want every African descendant to hear me carefully. You were in the loins of your foreparents. You were not born by some miraculous means you pop out of nowhere. You were in somebody's loins for centuries, for thousands of years. You passed through time. You were DNA material, and then you got here. You were manifested to humanity in Yahweh's timing. So while you were in the loins of your forefathers, when they got to the Ghana coast, Cape Coast, to Accra, Ghana, I think it was the Portuguese first who did it. They built the church. I'm talking to you Jesus preachers now, y'all. Every African who preaches Jesus is an enemy of his ancestors. I despise you. You are a traitor if you're here today and you keep doing what you're doing. You are an enemy of your forefathers. You are my enemy. You are my arch enemy. You are worse than the captors, because you, when I talk to you today, cannot say you have an excuse after I address you all. The Portuguese, share the broadcast please. The Portuguese built a church at the top of the dungeon where you were in knee deep sometimes, fecal matter, ankle deep to knee deep, fecal waste, probably deeper sometimes, urine, feces, all of that, excrement was all around you while you were hot and while they were waiting for you to shed enough weight to get through the door, at least 2 or 3 or 4 doors, before you get to the door of no return, where you were at your slimmest and fit enough to be on the boat, on the ship. I want to submit to you all that the Portuguese, blessed by the Catholics, the leader, built a church right at the top of the dungeon. And watch this. They had conduits or holes or openings so that the captured African Hebrew people could hear about Jesus. Jesus, as he would have been addressed as, using the Vulgate and the books. Do you understand that in the dungeon they began to tell us as Africans, while they were above our heads, that you are below us, you are in filth, and we will control what you believe from this point. And you got the guts and the gall to present me with a Europeanized concept. I don't care how you try to fix it. There's nothing called a black Jesus. There can never be anything called a black Jesus. It is impossible. Because history denies you that stupid reasoning. There's nothing called a black Jesus. History doesn't permit you to do that. While your foreparents were wallowing, crying, painfully, dying in some cases, in filth, the church was conducting service above them. I want some of y'all to get the picture. And some of you who are wise will already begin to get the picture. While your forefathers, while the black man as they call us, and black in my vocabulary speaks to power, dominance, rulership, authority. While that person was in the dungeon, the castle had a church at the top. And the demons, the terrorists, who were Christians, were above the black man, above the Hebrew, singing and praying to their Jesus. Why? What makes that important in this conversation? While your descendants, while your ancestors were in filth, in feces, in urine, in blood, some of them were dead on the floor, the white man was upstairs singing and praying, reading the Bible to Jesus. Y'all get a picture yet? Do you get the picture yet? While you, in the lawns of your forefathers, were in the dungeon, underground, in heat, on the coast, waiting to be put on a ship against your will, waiting to be, and you were already treated as if you're not human. The white man, the Christians, were upstairs praising Jesus and praying for a safe trip across the Atlantic. Do you get the picture yet? African preachers. I hope the broadcast is fine. Seems to be okay. They were engaged in worship. Now, how can you tell me that you have a black Jesus? So, you are insinuating that the white man calling on Jesus above your head, his Jesus was more powerful than your black Jesus in the dungeon? Cut it out. Today, the structure of the church remains the same. And that is why the Catholics and the Anglicans, because when the Dutch took over, when the Dutch captured the fort, the Dutch were Protestants, the Dutch were Anglicans, and the Dutch decided that we're going to praise our Jesus up until 1819 or so. They were praising their Jesus above the heads of the slaves, of the captives. So I want you all to answer me a question. Answer for me, please. I'm not as smart as some of you, so you can answer the question for me. You black preachers and others who know the answer, answer me, please. Was any African or Hebrew who was in the dungeon invited to preach upstairs? Take your time. We won't merge this morning. I have time to deal with you all, Barrett. Was any of the Africans or the Hebrew, because we're mixed of people, the black man, the black woman, was any one of them invited to come upstairs and worship and preach? Speak to me. If you got guts and you got belly, answer my question. Since Irfan could talk about Africans who trying to divide and don't listen to voices who trying to spread disunity, you answer my question. Let's see who's really the one spreading disunity here. Who are the destructive ones who sought to mash up and destroy people? The good Jesus of Lubeck was a ship that was sent to transport slaves. Bless you, Pastor Mel. See, I'm just type it instead of the good Jesus of Lubeck. So I'm asking you a question. And Rousseau answered, none of your black preachers in the loins of your forefathers were invited upstairs to sing to Jesus. So here's my question for you. The church was right above your head. You didn't have to go far. You just have to walk out the dungeon and go upstairs to the castle in the church. I'm asking you to tell me, what disqualified you all in Africa? I'd totally be uncomfortable today. What disqualified you, your forefathers in Africa, from going upstairs to worship Jesus? Did Jesus become different in the Caribbean? Come, man, come. Welcome to the broadcast. Since you want to talk about freedom, if Jesus is the same yesterday, today, and forever, what Jesus was upstairs in Accra, Ghana, in the castle, at the dungeon? Because if you tell me, if you now are in Guyana or anywhere in this world talking about Jesus, you are a traitor to your own people. When I get through to you all today, you come in my face talking about Jesus and that you've seen miracles. What you see is deception. Because miracles deceive if they not work by Yahweh's hand. Just know that. And that's not a broadcast for those who have spiritual sense. How could your foreparents be in the dungeon, in their feces, in their urine, in blood, among the dead, starved. And the white man is upstairs, but he isn't inviting you to worship Jesus. So I'm asking you a question. Is this a different Jesus that you all met here, years in the Caribbean and the US? Is Jesus not the same, according to your belief? So, brother, you're in the spirit, my brother. So watch this. When the black man and the black woman were weakened after walking for miles, for sometimes 100 miles, and for weeks, when they were weakened and couldn't resist, the white man had no need to give them Jesus. What he gave them were the sounds of this Jesus. You heard, you kept hearing them bombarding you in your weakest state, but you had no strength to fight. And they loaded us onto vessels, sent us across the Caribbean, tossed our bodies overboard, those of our foreparents who died, who couldn't make it. Some of our mothers were pregnant, and they're the ones who brought us here, but our fathers were overboard. Some people never got a chance to land in any territory because the mother was thrown over pregnant when she was dead. When you got here, you were sold and you were put to work in the loins of your forefathers. Hear me. The PPP, the racist top brass and their followers who were also racist in certain circles, not all of them, those who are racist, continue to tell us, Shalom Mel, good to see you, continue to tell us that leaders like me, we are the problem, because when we speak this way, we are inciting hostility, and we're promoting disunity. So y'all help me to understand, man. Help me to get this clear. The only group of individuals who were treated in the manner I described to you were Africans. Nobody else. The Africans and the Hebrews. If we were treated in this manner, I want you to tell me, please, who gives Irfan Ali or Barra Jagdeo the right to even think for a second that you could tell me how I should react to how I was treated? And up until today, I received not even a Guyanese dollar for what I suffered. To you who watch me in the US Embassy and all these places, you Caucasian ones who monitor me and blacklist me whatever you want, I'm here to ask you all a question. If we were so bad, and buckle up here, you British High Commission, all y'all, if we were so bad, what were you doing sucking our mothers' breasts? Because some of y'all who are alive today were born to generations of people, or these ancestors, who were made to suck on the breast of the African woman. If we were so weak, why did your parents, why did they put your fathers and your mothers to suck on our people's breast? Y'all could call me racist all you want. To hell with you. I don't care what you say. I don't have to defend my feeling towards another human being. I've never said I'm superior to anybody. I told you that I am powerful. Now, if when I say I'm powerful, you feel weak, to hell with you. It means you're weak. I'm not going to decrease my knowledge of myself to make you feel better. You have an esteem issue. So let me ask the British High Commissioner and Sarah and Lynch and all of y'all, if we are so low class, as a matter of fact, and so terrible, imagine even when we were walking in feces and y'all got us out of feces and brought us to the Caribbean, they put y'all to suck our mother's breast. Why? Why are you sucking the breast of a black woman if it's so terrible? Even the milk we produce was superior to y'all. We were considered exactly, we said, a slave is not human. So you could treat you anyhow, it's not a human being, but yet y'all on our breast, on our mother's breast. Why? If you were so terrible, why did you have us teaching your children mathematics, English language? Imagine the language that you taught us, French and these things, we had to teach your children. I'll tell you why. Because even in our weakest state, you recognize our strength. Even in our weakest state, you recognize our strength. Somebody please type that for the whole world to see. I don't care how they feel this morning. Let's talk the facts. Even in our weakest state, you saw the potency of our breast milk, of our mother's breast milk. Even in our weakest state, you saw that they had intelligence to teach your own children. Who built the castles that you see here in Guyana? Tell me. Who built the forts that you see here in Guyana? Who built the Supreme Court? Who? Indentured servants? Who built those mega structures and cathedrals for the white man to come worship Jesus? Come and talk to me, please. Who built the White House in the USA? I have all day to deal with you all. Irfan Ali, the White House was not built by indentured servants. The house called the White House, where the President of USA lives, was not built by indentured servants. It was built by Africans. Who constructed the palaces for the Queen and all y'all? And then you got the nerve to come to tell me that I'm racist because I'm speaking to what is just for my people? Again, I say to hell with you. How can you demand that I get over injustice? For you to request that I get over injustice, it means that you are unjust yourself. So if you can't talk to me. None of y'all. I am supposed to be extreme. Given what my people have endured and what I've endured in the laws of my fathers. And what I still have to endure at your hand. I am supposed to be extreme in my demands. Because after 200 plus years of those white people saying that I'm free, they haven't paid me anything. When Hitler did all the things you said to the Ashkenazi people who claimed they were Jews, the Jews were paid for the Holocaust. They were paid. They didn't suffer for 400 years. The Holocaust did not last for 400 years, and the Germans paid the Caucasians, who were called Jews, the Ashkenazis, the imposters. The Germans paid them money. Those of us who were legitimately African and Hebrew people, they have given us nothing. We have the right, therefore, to be as extreme as you want to say we are. in our demand, not in our request, in our justified demand for reparation. You Ali, want to go and you want to talk to me? You want to come and talk to me? The church is where it started. There wasn't a mosque, there wasn't a temple, there was a Christian church above our heads. And that is why the white man could tell John Smith, could tell the Adventist pastor, could tell the Brethren Church, could tell the Church of God, could tell the Anglican bishop or priest, could tell the Church of God of Prophecy, could tell the Church in Christ, could tell all of y'all, you will call him Jesus. And you could say nothing because he was above your head. But I want to submit to y'all that though they were keeping church above our heads, some of our fathers refused to deny their God. So the name of our God and the name of our Savior was not lost in the dungeon. Some of the slaves, as they were called, decided that it's easier to call Master's God Jesus and Master Father Jehovah and escape the hardship and receive some benefits from Master. That's what the Church of Christ getting Guyana, y'all, Milo, and all y'all. You say what the white man told you to say, and he sends a salary for you. You are a disgrace. And you could see me anywhere in the net already. My number is 6003792. 6003792. Nigel, that's another Nigel. I need to change my name. I'm going to change my name, by the way. My name will be changed to Eliyahu. Eliakim, because I'm done with you. I'll make it official. Eliyahu means Yahweh is my God. Eliakim means that God raises up. I am done with your stupidness. Nigel got too much problems in this country. Nigel's name getting into too much issues in Guyana now. So let me change it. And I will. Eliyahu means Yahweh is my God. You don't have to wonder who I am anymore. Because my forefathers, my father had a name that wasn't British. And it meant something. Now, fortunately, my name is Noble. But hell, something is going wrong with us in this country regarding Nigels now. And my sons and daughters shall be called by my name. Eliakim means Yahweh raises up. We are a people, I am naming you all from now. My generation shall arise in this nation. I'm not talking just on my loins. Out of the gospel I preach, you shall arise in nations across this world and be known as people who understand who you are. I don't have my hat exactly because I don't find my hat today. I actually left my hat in the truck. Russo, son, I have, Yahweh has answered me. I was up, I told you I didn't sleep for about an hour or two. I was up, Pastor Mel. Your name shall be known. But you're working, so that's a special broadcast because Yahweh, not all y'all, some of you, Yahweh said to present your name publicly. Rousseau is French. It's a white person. You shall be called what you are, which is Malachi, the messenger of Elohim. You are a messenger. Malachi, Eliakim means Yahweh has raised up a messenger in you. We demand, not ask for. When they hear our names, they will know our assignment and know that we know who we are. But I'm saying again, Nigel Milonial, you have to say what the white man told you to say. You from Church of Christ. You have to say what the white man in the USA tells you to say, and then they send you some money. And that's what some of our forefathers did. They decided, okay, it's easy to say Jesus. It's easy to talk about Jehovah, which is an artificial name by definition. You check any encyclopedia. It says that Jehovah is an artificial name for the Hebrew God. So you have to use the artificial name because you cannot use the Hebrew name. And the white man says, you're a good boy, you're a good Christian, because you're not rebelling against what we say. So we're going to send you some help from overseas, and you're going to be one of the best paid pastors in Guyana, but you're controlled. Your message is controlled. The Assemblies of God cannot call the Messiah Yeshua because the USA will deal with them. The headquarters will deal with them, since you cannot go against doctrine. I'm here to announce to you all today that the church, the white man, was above your head in the dungeon. Singing, praying, reading the Bible and all that, for you to hear, though you didn't understand, you heard. Though you did not understand, you heard. Though you did not understand, you heard. And let me present this to you all with no shadow of doubt. Your spirit is not bound by ignorance in terms of language. Always remember that. That's why you could meet somebody who doesn't even talk your language and you could tell you they hate you or they like you. Your spirit is not bound by ignorance in terms of language. Your spirit, not your soul, not your flesh, not your reasoning ability. Your spirit is not bound by language. The church was above your head. The church never invited you upstairs. In your weakest state, the church saw no need to have you in their presence. And I'm called racist. Well, let me address y'all who said I'm racist. Because I know you come in the rebroadcast or replay and say I'm racist. The replay, and I'll deal with you. It was not until the white man, the Caucasians, recognized that there was a group in their midst. Now, remember the slaves, the Africans were transported, the Hebrew were transported for so long. They began to work and they began to get stronger and began to revolt. And they said, oh, hold on. These people who are fighting and destroying us must be classified as different. So we're going to call them by different names and classify them differently. We say that we are Caucasian. We are white. We say that they are black and they're yellow and they're brown, and we're going to give different descriptions phenotypically so that they can feel divided or separated from us and isolated from each other. I'm going to take my time. I'm going to take my time with you all. I have somewhere to go. I'll take my time this morning. Anybody who knows history, normally in England, those of you all in the USA, you all tell me the truth. During the British War, where the US was fighting for their freedom, in Scotland, in the Irish, in the British situation, all that, I want you all to tell me the truth. Were there, when the Vikings and stuff used to be fighting, do you know who used to be fighting each other? Let me give you a hint. It wasn't black people. When you used to have the Irish warring, and the Scottish and all these people, big wars, and then the British and the US and the Americans were fighting, as they call themselves Americans. I want you all to tell me the truth. When the Portuguese defeated the Dutch, they weren't black people. Thank you, Woodley. The Europeans were fighting each other. I want y'all to hear me. They were never classified as Caucasian when they were destroying one another. They used to fight based on territory. And they used to fight for territory and based on which clan you're from, which community you're from. They didn't fight based on ethnicity. You can mark me all you want, you dogs. I don't care. There's a different person you're dealing with here today because I had enough of your garbage. The British High Commission can't come and tell me anything to my face about Britain being some upright nation. Your people, y'all, began a system, all you, your foreparents. They started in the 1700s, hold on. We killing each other. When we can simply be classified as the same thing and then classify the others as something different. So they'll be convinced now that the white man is this and the black man is that. But before that, they were slaughtering one another. They were murdering each other. That was their very nature. The Vikings and all these people, they were murderous people, killing their own kind. Because it was never about race. The European, the Caucasian, introduced the concept of race. Get out of here with your stupid Islam racist. Which one of us is racist? Who created the race concept? Come to the front of the class. If the African, the Hebrew, never created any race concept. Watch this. The Hebrew dealt with you based on your belief. Some of y'all can't take this today. The Hebrew's enemy were the enemy of his God. Not skin. If you were an idol worshipper, you were the enemy of the Hebrew people. It was not about your complexion. It was not about your hair texture. It was about what you believe in. The Caucasians fought for what they wanted. They killed to gain wealth. They murdered to gain land. The Hebrew was about what you believed. Who you obeyed. If the Hebrew obeyed his God, he was a free man. If he disobeyed his God, he was held captive. It was not about wealth. But Yahweh still empowered his people to be wealthy based on obedience, not greed. And you have a British High Commission and others who are in Ghana. Let me deal with you people because I'll be doing more broadcasts after this. This is not over. This is the beginning of sorrows for y'all. Irfan Ali had the nerve to speak on the 1st of August, according to Pope Gregory's calendar, that he is essentially understanding the pain the Africans suffered, and he understands that this was the most horrific thing that happened to a group of people, and that we deserve to be repaid. Irfan Ali, Bharat Jagdeo, Anil Nandalal, Priya Manikchand, Ramson, all y'all, you have never, even for 50 seconds, stood in front of the British High Commission and say, we are protesting because we demand that the Africans get reparation. Get out of here, you hypocrites. Y'all stood 100 plus meters away, just about 100 meters away, rocking the vehicle that the state owned. You're illegal, come out. That's what Karen Cummings. Karen Cummings, a descendant of Africans, was sitting in a vehicle, and just because Granger was not calling an election for y'all in your timing, you were shaking the vehicle she was in. Come out of here. The police couldn't stop your earphones and say, move. This one who's president now, this one who's paid to be president by us, was harassing, insulting, and being very aggressive towards police officers. And you won't call people thug? Y'all were prepared to stand just by Lamaha Street. Look where the British High Commissioner is. You never even walk 100 meters back to say, we're standing here for African people. But you got the guts to say that you demand reparation. You never once protested in Guyana for the benefit of the Africans. Get out of my face. You could sell that garbage to those who want to buy it, not me. You sell all the fools who want to follow your sanction, all them. You tell them that. You know where the British High Commission is, Irfan. When you came back from the UN, when you couldn't pronounce the word reparation, when you talk about reparative and reparative justice, when you did that, you came back home. You went to England. You went to the UK. You spoke to Boris. You spoke to Boris Johnson, the British Prime Minister at the time, about what Africans should face, because then, of course, you were being called up by Wickford Burke and Hakeem Jeffries that you're racist. So you couldn't take it. And I was saying the same thing because you are in your demeanor. So what you all choose to do, you try to gain PR points. You came back to this country and never once mounted a protest for even 50 seconds in front of the British High Commission saying you demand reparation, you demand reparative justice. How the hell can you tell me on the 1st of August that I should be repaid for something? Get out of here. Somebody please type this. There's some big words, but you could type it. Genuineness is never concealed. You cannot hide genuineness. Anything that's genuine is never hidden. Genuineness is never concealed. If you are genuine about African descendants having reparation, you'll be the first in line to tell the British High Commission where to get off. Genuineness is never concealed. You cannot hide it. And let me say this to you all on a personal basis. If they mean you well, they shall treat you well. Don't have anybody treat you badly and say, I mean you well. Anyone who means you well will treat you well. You can type that for Ali to read. He needs some reading classes, by the way. So type it for him to read. Anyone who means you well will treat you well. That's a life lesson. You live and die by that. Anyone who means you well will treat you well. If somebody is not treating you well, they don't mean you well. He has all the foolishness to talk. On the 1st of August, you issue a statement. Let me address you all in the PPP. You leadership. When you have Pagwa, Main Street, you all come to the front of the class. When they have Pagwa, which is a Hindu celebration predominantly for Indo-Guyanese people, Main Street is lit up, lights everywhere. Christmas, which is a Caucasian celebration, light up, because Muslims celebrate Christmas, Hindus celebrate Christmas, Christians celebrate Christmas, anybody celebrate Christmas. Main Street has a whole, the boulevard is lit, the whole street is oh my God, even to all the way to State House. For Pagwa, big stage. I want you all come here and tell me what Main Street look like for emancipation. Ali lives on Main Street. He have to walk far. I want anybody who tell me, Diana, I was out there, so I know I'm saying to you all, what they did do on Main Street in front of courts for the black man's emancipation. Y'all tell me that. Tell me please. For Pagwa, Main Street has a whole village, all lights and big decoration. Millions of dollars are spent from our money by Ramson, the Minister of Culture, Youth and Sports. His ministry is on Main Street, so you gotta walk far either. Just out there, you could see it. Main Street for the black man were a few tents with people selling products. And Sancho Hali, I will call you because you're one of them. You've joined them. I'll call you out every time because you're a disgrace to Yahweh. You, Sheridan, prophet. A prophet does no justice? Sheridan jump on PPP wagon. Y'all are in among these people. Thought all of y'all. Mark Phillips, every one of you. Because genuineness cannot be concealed. If these people care about you, they will treat you well. See, my son Rousseau already got his name Malachi. Malachi is there. My son Malachi Pierre is there. Your name is Malachi. Malachi like him, because today I announce that you will bear the last name of your father. You've proven a lot to me, son. You will carry your father's last name. What you're really telling me? Let me be angry. Christmas, the white man holiday, you have all the street. Main Street is a village. Ali comes out of his house, goes to sit under the night sky and have all kind of concert. For Diwali, Ali is out again. And when it comes to emancipation, which he said would have been the worst, the slavery was the worst crime committed against the African. That man never once had the mind to tell Ramson, what happened to Main Street? Why is Main Street looking like this? Just vendors selling? Is that what the African descendants are worth? We have to sell to make some money? You did not even get out of our house and announce to those people that on the 1st of August there shall be a deposit made of $1 million Ghana to every African descendant. You could say that as a state, we're going to begin the process. We show the UK, we show these people we're serious about what we're doing. We show the Dutch, we show the Portuguese, we show the French that we mean business when it comes to African descendants. We are going to give them an emancipation package. You couldn't even do that. You couldn't announce that for emancipation there will be a day or a week of no tax being paid. A tax-free day, a tax break. You couldn't even do that. I will, Zion, by your request and by Yahweh's grace. You have no shame. And you're sharing Ali's message. Share what? What can Ali tell me? I'm asking every person of Indian descent in this country, is it okay for you? Are you okay with that? That for Diwali you could have all this Christmas where everybody celebrates fun. But because emancipation is exclusively about an African, nothing else. And this whole slavery story they want to tell. You mean to tell me that y'all are okay? Y'all are fine with Diwali, Main Street is litter. Christmas, Main Street is litter because the white man holiday. But when it comes to the African day, vendors in some little tents, no decoration, no banners, no lighting, no cultural presentation. And whoever organized the national park business, y'all can be as mad as you want. But I saw that you had to pay to enter the national park. How can you tell me as an African that I must pay? I should pay to go into the national park wearing my garb and to celebrate. What is wrong with y'all, man? What is really wrong with you people? Yeah, the people, you're not being funny because of this wicked regime. But come on, man. And there's no re-entry, so if I enter, I cannot go out and come. I have to pay again. Adults $1,500, whatever it is. Children $500. What is wrong with you people? We already have no reparation. We have no payback. We have no recompense. We have nothing in our hand. And on the day that they say you're free, although we're not really free, to commemorate that, I must pay to go into national park. What is wrong with y'all? I don't tell me no fundraising here. You don't raise fund at my pay. So a poor African mother, a poor African father who cannot afford $1,500 can't go in the park to see what their ancestors were like. What is wrong with y'all? This should never happen again in our history. And if I were given 1 minute to leave this country, I would ban that. Don't tell me because you not funded ACT or whatever it is, you all don't get money from the government, you will tax your own people. Let us protest and embarrass Ali for what he is. But don't tell me I must pay you. That's why I would go nowhere. You're not going to make me pay you to go into the national park to celebrate what you all call my freedom. This should have been funded entirely by us, the state. All Guyanese. The state should pay for this. Because the state pays for Diwali, for Main Street light up. For Diwali. The whole stage and all that. The state pays for it. Why the hell can't the state pay for National Park? What is wrong with y'all? And you telling me that if an Ali who speaks for the PPP had any good intention on the 1st of August, when you're racist, you can't help it. You will always manifest it in some way or the other. And what are the chances that Mark Phillips was acting president at the time? I think Ali was overseas. And Mark Phillips, who would have been acting during that period as president of Guyana, couldn't instruct Ramson to say, what are you doing? Even if you had the sign, come out of your house and say, listen, this here is free. Ramson, the Ministry of Culture, Youth and Sports, will provide a check to cover all expenses in this park. And Ali telling you all about reparation, Ashni Singh, who has no portfolio with sense, but to read budget in Parliament and ask for more money. In the same time of our, if you all know where I am this morning, in the same period, we haven't finished emancipation because on the 10th next week I'm going to speak in Buxton at the forum. So you haven't completed or concluded our emancipation celebration yet, because you should have a whole month or a year. The United Nations dedicated a decade to the African descendants ending in 2025. The United Nations dedicated 10 years, the decade of those who are of African descent. 10 years. So don't tell me Ghana can't give us 1 or 5. And Ashni Singh, in the same period where we are celebrating, you all talk about celebrating freedom, gets up in Parliament asking for 30 or how many more billion dollars, billion, in a supplementary budget. Because they want more money. They spent the $800+ billion already. And there's the second time, the third, fourth, fifth time they'll come back before this year is over. They ain't stopping. And he never once stood and say that we are in Parliament seeking $1 million to offset expenses for African people. And y'all want to talk to me? $61 billion. Y'all want to talk to me? Huh? You want to take the risk of getting my face talking stupidness about African descendants and nobody should go through this again and we demand reparation? Definitely get out of my face. I don't want to hear any one of y'all. Do right. That's what I say to you. If you don't like how I speak, then do right, and I'll speak differently. I'll commend you for doing right. But I will never commend you for doing wrong. And if you want to classify me as being racist because of how I speak, then do so. I don't care. I'll still tell you how I feel about you because you're wrong. You're dead wrong. You're totally wrong. Let AGDA come forward. Let IPADG come forward and tell us how much money was given to them by the state, which is us. How much did you receive for emancipation celebrations? Tell us. We want to know. ready for every last one of y'all. Fully prepared. The people who suffered the most historically, you saying we have to pay you? We have to pay money at the gate at the national park to go into to at least dress African, as you call it? African is not a dress, it's a people. I'm not an attire, I'm a person. The descendant of great men and women. So right, so someone is saying that they got pittance, not next to nothing. I'm saying to you, then we should all, as African descendants, instead of going to the park, go in front of the State House. That's what you all should have done. If you really mean business about your people, you go and stand for them. If you mean business about your people and you want respect, you will go and stand for them. And let the world see that the tribes of greatness are still alive in Guyana, and we're not afraid to stand when you disrespect us. Don't tell me that they didn't give us enough money, so we have to take money from our people. What kind of behavior is that? What manner of disrespectful stupidness is that? Don't tell me because they didn't give you enough money, you're charging people money. So as a people, all of you who preach Jesus, especially African descendants, you are traitors to your race. You are unkind. You are treasonous. Yeah. You are a disgrace, because Jesus was introduced to you when you were in a dungeon, in feces, in poop, in urine, in pee, in piss. That's when Jesus came to your ears. Look at the environment in which Jesus came to you. While the lords are upstairs. Shouldn't at least say that hits and jams are charging people to enter the park? To hell with them. Boycott them. Worse yet, hits and jams of all people? Y'all gotta be kidding me. Anyway, this is just the beginning. I am enraged beyond what some y'all can imagine, because I have had enough of these PPP idiots telling me and my people and Guyanese that we should not be as enraged, because it's happened long ago. You do not tell me how I should react to injustice. What you should do is share my actions and mirror my actions if you truly hate injustice. If you really hate injustice, you'll behave just like me, because you say these people have been so wrong to these African descendants for so long they can't fix it. We're going to protest in front of the British High Commission and say, fix this. That's what you'll do. Thank you all for your time. We will meet again. We shall meet again. Because I had enough of y'all in this foolishness. Y'all do well and be strong.